Hey guys, I'm back for another part of my ritual crafting series. Now we're up to circle casting, which is more complicated than it would originally appear, especially for a dedication ritual. There are two views with dedication. One is that it's your first ritual ever and you're introducing yourself to all of these powers. I think that you could do part of that without it being your first ritual ever. You could reintroduce yourself with your new magical name and your new persona in the ritual context of a dedication ritual. That's one way to go about doing that. I'm personally against waiting for your first ritual to be your dedication ritual because how do you really know if this path is for you if you haven't experimented over your whatever period of time you've spent studying before dedication? I'm also against waiting the traditional year and a day because I think it takes some people varying periods to decide that this is really the path for them. Dedication is an enormous undertaking, and a lot of people go into it too lightly. It is a vow to the gods that you are going to follow this path. It's you transforming yourself to take on this path, this course of study, this spiritual undertaking for the rest of your life. As a solitary, dedication in a coven is different, but as a solitary, that's what it is. And if you've only been studying for a year and a day, how can you really be sure that this is what you want to do? I'm not saying that after you've done dedication, your life won't change and you might find that this path is no longer spiritually fulfilling for you and change your mind and convert to a different path. I'm just saying that this is an undertaking that is serious and you need to put serious thought into it, because if you're not sure that Wicca is right for you at this point in your life, don't do dedication. You have to be absolutely sure. So there's that first view that it's your first ritual. The second view, which is completely what I agree with, is that you've done several rituals before, you're fairly proficient in energy manipulation and ritual structure, and this is you making your vow, as I said. That's what I would prefer for most people that are watching this video to be thinking about, and not having this be your first ritual. I've broken it down so that it's easy enough, if this is your first ritual, for you to write it, but I would really prefer to have more proficient ritual practitioners be doing their dedication from this course. The reason I brought this up with the circle casting is because in all the Wicca 101 books, they talk you through circle casting, the casting it 3 times, clockwise, with an athame, usually, sometimes a wand, if you don't have either, with your hand. And that's fine. That's usually where most people start, but there are a bunch of different ways to cast the circle. So you need to figure out which one you're going to do, and if you've had more ritual experience, it's going to be easier for you to figure out which one worked for you if you've experimented with a few of them. And when I've been talking about experimenting with different things, like with the grounding and with the purification, not so much with the purification maybe, but definitely with the grounding, you need to try things multiple times. Don't do it once and be like, oh, that didn't work. Your subconscious is going to take time to get used to these new ideas, to get used to the new ways energy might be flowing through your body with these different techniques. So you need to try them at least three or four times before you can really discard them and say that didn't work. The first time is going to be awkward with no matter what you try usually. I mean, unless it's just absolutely meant for you, but that doesn't always happen with everything that you're going to try. So, and even if you find something that's absolutely meant for you and the first time you try it, it's awesome, I'd still recommend trying it 2 more times, seeing if those 2 times work as well, and trying other techniques as well, because you might find something that even works better under different circumstances, or whatever. You need to have a toolbox of these things that you can pick and choose from for whatever you're doing, because even if it worked for you one day, if you're in a different mood another day, or if you're going for a different tone in ritual, you might want something else. And that's the reason I brought this up with the circle casting, because if you're doing a regular Sabbat or full moon Esbit ritual, casting the circle 3 times clockwise is fine, especially with a full moon Esbit, because it goes with the triple moon goddess energy, casting it 3 times. If you are doing, say, a dark moon Esbit, you might want to cast the circle 3 times counterclockwise. And I know everyone just gasped or whatever because you don't do that, but it's perfectly acceptable to do it if you're doing a Dark Moon Esprit, a banishing ritual, working with a dark goddess or god. It's perfectly fine. It enhances the tone of your ritual if it doesn't confuse you having to move counterclockwise through the circle the entire time. So that's another one I'd recommend you doing 3 times if you want to try it out. That's not as great with the dedication unless you're really dedicating yourself to a darker aspect of the god or goddess, because you're not banishing anything, and you're probably not going to be doing it on a new moon. But that was just my example. For a dedication, you might want to cast the circle 3 times in a different way. Cast it 3-dimensionally, or cast it without having it merged together, or cast it 4 times with the elements. There are a bunch of different ways that you could cast the circle. You might even consider not walking the perimeter and just casting it out. That's a different way to do it too. If you're looking for more ideas about this, a book, I'm not going to completely recommend the book because I'm not done with it yet, and I'm probably going to do a book review about it later, but a good resource that I found so far, I'm only 100 pages in, is Solitary Wicca for Life by Aaron Murphy Hiscock. It's really good source. It's an intermediate book, so you might want to read like a Wicca 101 book and maybe Elements of Ritual and then go to this book. It's not horribly advanced, but it is more than 101, so if you haven't really progressed that far, wait. So there's that. So the other thing you need to decide when casting your circle is if you're going to say anything, and that's the same thing with the last few things that I've talked about with chants or words in any form during those times. Some people choose to, some people don't. It depends on your level of experience and your personal preference. There are a bunch of different chants that you can use while casting the circle, and I'll put a link to my ritual performance series in the down bar, because I used one in there that I like a lot. If you Google it for circle casting or whatever, or just sample rituals or whatever, you're going to find a lot of different circle castings that way too, and you can pick and choose what works for you, rewrite some of them, write your own, whatever. So you're going to have to play with that too. And that's really about all I had to say with casting the circle. There are a lot of different other things that you can do while casting the circle. You've got reserve energy and stuff like which hand you cast it with and blah blah blah, but that's kind of a little more advanced than I wanted to get into in this video. I might eventually do something like that about different ways you can cast the circle, but that's probably going to be a ways away. So if you have questions, you can feel free to send me a message again. And today is going to be Video Palooza Day because I felt guilty because I wanted to make a video yesterday, but I didn't. So I'm probably going to make a bunch. So I'll see you guys in my next video.